At 2:13 a.m. on 1 October night, our camera quietly recorded the ruined interior of Drake's Mill. Suddenly, from the darkness came a sound no one expected. A woman's laugh. Light, mocking, unmistakable. The camera whip-panned, catching only a blurred motion at the edge of the frame. Seconds later, the feed went black. No one on our crew was seen on tape after that. What had just happened? Who was that laughing woman? The question hangs in the air like the echo of that ghostly laughter. We begin our story with that chilling encounter, a raw, unscripted moment of terror. On screen, the footage is grainy, a strobe of broken floodlights, swinging ceiling beams, and a cracked masonry wall. In that flicker, a pale face seems to flash in the millpond's reflection, and then nothing. Our narrator's voice snaps in. No one expected this. Not on a routine night of filming. It's the perfect hook, a slice of horror and mystery that grips the viewer immediately. Drake's Mill sits in deep woods of New Hampshire, a century and a half of stories buried in its crumbling brick walls. Built by Arnold Drake in 1861, it originally ground grain off a dam on Snow's Brook. Local maps from the era mark it Drake's Dam and a pond fed by a tributary, powering the mill wheel. According to a 1902 history of Waterville Valley, Mr. Drake built his mill in 1861. Mr. Drake's mill was burned in 1895, the present mill replacing it the same year. This confirms two key dates: the mill's founding and its rebirth in brick after a devastating fire. By the early 20th century, Drake's Mill had fallen silent. The great 1896 storm washed out much of the dam, and by the 1930 says, the pond had largely drained. Over decades, the once neat farm buildings collapsed into vine-choked ruins. Today, you see the empty bed of the old pond, cracked clay under the sun, with only splintered planks and rusted gears scattered around. A sign rusted shut reads, Drake's Mill, proof this place really existed, even if nothing else has. Yet in those quiet ruins, whispers of an old tragedy linger. According to town legend, Arnold Drake's young wife Mary disappeared one winter night in 1863. Her horse returned without her, footprints led to the half-frozen pond, and that was it. No body was ever found. Newspapers of the day don't report Mary's death, but an 1864 diary of a local doctor laments, a fine woman lost beneath the ice, the pages torn, fate unrecorded. Many believe Mary Drake slipped beneath the ice and drowned, though a few fear something darker. The fact is, no official death certificate has ever surfaced. Only this whispered story remained. Then came the whispers of something else, a laughter. Tales began in the late 20th century that a strange, eerie giggle echoes from Drake's Mill after sundown. Older residents recalled hearing a woman laugh as they walked by, only to find the mill empty. One local author wrote in 1985, "They say Mary still chuckles behind the trees." These murmurings eventually drew amateur ghost hunters to the site. Concord Evening Chronicle, aged 1862. Tragedy at Drake's Mill. Mrs. Emily Drake, aged 24, the miller's wife, went missing near the mill pond on the morning of October 9. Search parties found the horse, returning riderless, but the mill pond, though searched in desperation, revealed no trace. The community mourned, and questions remain unanswered. While this 1862 headline is a reconstruction, it captures how the story has been told, as fact. The community mourns, and questions remain unanswered. Reads like the setup to a ghost story. In our own digging, we found nothing in the state archives to confirm the chronicle entry, reinforcing that Drake's Mill lore blurs history and myth. This is where investigation takes over. In summer 2018, our team set up audio and video recorders around the pond bed and inside the mill. Sensors waited for sound. Infrared cameras waited for motion. As the sun set, the mill was silent and still, but our devices were primed. At about midnight, our equipment did capture something. A faint rustle, a creak of the old timber under the wind. But at 12:37 a.m., a clear sound crossed the microphones. Woman's laughter. Soft at first, then abrupt and loud. All equipment stopped moving, but the laugh continued for a full 3 seconds. We replayed the recording. The laughter stands alone. No background voices, no footsteps. Nothing but her singular, joyful chuckle, and then an echo. To an audio engineer, this kind of unexpected voice is known as an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. In practice, EVP often appear as unexplainable whisper or laugh in a spooky location. We consulted Dr. Linda Foster, a forensic audio specialist, who said, "This clip of laughter has no match on any track. It's not someone from our team, and the room was empty." Technically, it's exactly the sort of recording ghost hunters call an EVP. We cross-checked every reason. No one on site that night besides the recording crew. No speakers could have played it. Computers were off. The only hypothesis left, if one is willing to entertain it, is that the laughter came from somewhere else. Perhaps a presence we cannot see. In fact, similar hauntings are recorded elsewhere. Dover's old mill house, repurposed as apartments, has its own phantom voices. Residents report experiencing cold spots, apparitions, disembodied voices, and the sounds of machines turning on and off late at night. In short, New Hampshire's historic mills have a reputation. If Dover's mill can echo with the revenants of the past, why not Drake's mill? Another eerie clue. Visual reflections in the old pond bed. Late one evening, our cameras caught a strange play of light on the cracked mud. The team saw a shifting silhouette in the dried clay's sheen, like a face materializing where no water exists. Paranormal folklore might offer an explanation. Some believe that bodies of water, or even their dried remains, can act as conduits for ghosts. A theory suggests that when ghosts come into contact with large bodies of water, they are able to draw on the energy from those waters and use it to manifest themselves. By that thinking, even though Drake's Pond is empty now, the idea of the water might allow a spirit to appear. So, we have audio and weird visuals. On tape, unmistakable female laughter with no source, and occasionally an apparition-like shape at the pond's mirror-like surface. We also interviewed a couple of locals. One elderly farmer swears, "I've been walking past that old mill my whole life. More than once at dusk I've heard a woman's laugh, soft and sad. I always stop and listen, but no one's there." His story adds a human voice to the recordings. We stacked all evidence, the century-old rumors, the audio clip, the shaky footage, the testimonies, and tried to explain it. Could it be pranksters? Unlikely. Security cameras around the site showed no one lurking. Could it be animals? The laugh was distinctly human and female. Could the pond's cracked mud somehow reflect moonlight oddly, creating a face illusion? Maybe. But that doesn't account for the laughter track. Then came a discovery that changed our perspective. In July 2020, a historian in Concord uncovered a forgotten source, a page from an 1871 ledger of the local cemetery. It lists a Mary Drake, drowned, but under Drake's plot, Forestvale Cemetery, 1864. But here's the twist. That Mary Drake was born 1840, making her 24 at death. Her father is listed as John Drake, not Arnold. More confusing, Arnold Drake's wife is listed elsewhere as Sarah, age 21, who died in childbirth in 1863. No record exists for a Mary or Sarah at the mill pond at all, except this cryptic ledger. This mismatch suggests something odd. Was Mary really Arnold's wife? Or a relative? Why does Arnold's wife, Sarah, vanish from Drake's story except this cemetery note? Did Mrs. Drake even drown? Or was it someone else recorded under the same name? As one archivist put it to us quietly, the historical record here is full of holes. We realized we might have the wrong idea of whose laughter we were hearing. Maybe Mary Drake was a local myth name, and the real story involves a distant cousin or a servant girl forced to change her name. One clue. In 1865, the Exeter County Journal printed a letter complaining that Drake spawned giggles at midnight. Again, without attribution. Was it teenage pranksters? A local hoax? Or something unaccountable? The article's tone is dismissive of locals' fears, but it hints the sounds were known soon after the mill's early days. If this is true, our modern recordings might be hearing something unchanged in 160 years. Whatever name she goes by, Mary, Sarah, or otherwise, the laughter has been echoing here for generations. That twist, discovering that official records don't match the legend? We still have no solid answers. The climax, the deepest hours. Our final test came on Halloween night, 2022. Beneath the crescent moon, we pointed every camera and microphone toward the old pond. For 2 hours, it was silent. Then, at 2:07 IEM, it happened. A laugh rang out. Closer this time, the cameras caught a misty figure drifting across the road beyond the mill pond. The audio caught a reply to our shouted, "Who's there?" We screamed and ran, as did our equipment, shutting off for a full second. The laughter continued for a few more notes, then cut. Our final recording ends with a whisper. "Why are you here?" The rest is only static. All 6 of us burst into daylight, shaking. We still hear the echo of that voice and a new one. Get out. The night's climax gave us no neat finale, only a raw, terrifying confirmation that something is present at Drake's Mill. The data, the audio files, the footage are all on record. They are as real as any photograph, an open-ended finale. And so we end where we began, in uncertainty. We have footage, recordings, and eyewitness accounts. We even have cryptic historic notes, but no definitive explanation. What did we capture in the dark? A residual haunting imprinted on place? A confused wandering spirit lost from her own century? An elaborate optical audio illusion? Or perhaps something else beyond common understanding? All we know is that the evidence is genuine. We heard that laughter, we saw that shape, on camera and tape. We triple-checked for hoaxes, for logical causes, and came up empty. As one investigator sighs off-screen, "We don't know what this is, but we know the footage is real. The rest is up to you." Tonight, and maybe forever, Drake's Mill guards its secret. In the end, there is no tidy answer, only the lingering image of a woman's eerie laughter, dancing in the dry pond, waiting for anyone brave enough to listen.